How's it going, friends? On today's video, we are talking all about the top-rated private schools here in the Twin Cities. And if you're looking for an alternative learning experience and are curious what some of the best options are here in the Twin Cities, stick around. What's up, y'all? My name is Bradford Schulz, and I work with the hardest working real estate team in the game. We are called To the Twin Cities, and this channel aims to be the best resource on the internet when it comes to schools here in the Twin Cities. If that's important to you, feel free to subscribe, click the little bell to get notified every time we post videos. And if you want our help buying a home here in the Twin Cities or navigating the school systems, feel free to reach out to me at bradford@tothetwincities.com. I'd love to help. All right, let's get into it. Private schools are an alternative educational choice for parents and students who may be searching for or seeking different teaching methods, different curriculum, or specific educational philosophies. According to a study done by the Friedman Foundation, found that the top 5 reasons parents chose a private school over a traditional public school were all due to what was dubbed school climate and classroom management. So some of those would be better student discipline, a better learning environment, one that comes up very often, smaller class sizes, improved student safety, and more individual attention for their child. And if you're interested in learning more specifically about private schools, we do have a video on private schools pros and cons, and then we also have another video called Private Schools Explained, where we sort of dive into the nuances and things to know about private schools as you make that decision. With all that said, let's take a look at the top-rated private schools here in the Twin Cities. So as we dive into all these different schools here, we're going to go through 10 schools today. The first 5 that I'm going to go through, I'm just going to kind of quickly breeze through, and then the top 5 I'll dive into a little bit more, some of the more specific information. But we gathered a lot of this information from the school websites themselves. We also got some of the rankings and grades from niche.com and other information from places like greatschools.org and the Minnesota Department of Education, Minnesota Report Card. If you've ever been interested in looking at specific details about schools, check out Minnesota Report Card. So without further ado, coming in at number 10 is St. Thomas Academy. It's a private all-boys Catholic school located in Mendota Heights. It has around 600 students in grades 6 through 12 and has a 10-to-1 student-to-teacher ratio. So coming in at number 9 is the Al-Amal School in Fridley, Minnesota. It has about 400 students in grades pre-K through 12 and has a student-to-teacher ratio of 10-to-1. All right, next to the list at number 8 is the Academy of Holy Angels. This is located in Richfield, Minnesota. It's a Catholic school. It serves around 600 students in grades 9 through 12 and has a 12-to-1 student-to-teacher ratio. All right, coming in at number 7 is Cretin-Derham Hall. It's located in St. Paul, Minnesota. It is a private Catholic boarding school serving around 1,000 students, one of the larger schools on this list, in grades 9 through 12, and has a 12-to-1 student-to-teacher ratio. Next on the list at number 6 is Minnehaha Academy. It is a private Christian school in Minneapolis, serves around 900 students in grades pre-K through 12, and has a 9-to-1 student-to-teacher ratio. So as I said at the beginning of this list, I kind of flew through numbers 10 through 6 there, but if you'd like to learn more about those 5 that I just went through, make sure to check out their websites. They've got lots of really great information. You can kind of get more of a sense of their educational philosophies, their enrollment, and what do they charge for tuition? Do they have busing options? Things like that. We're going to dive into that on these upcoming 5 schools here. But again, check out the school websites. They're going to have a lot of that great information for you there. All right, coming up at number 5, Breck School. Founded in 1886 and rooted in Episcopal values, Breck School is a preschool through grades 12 college prep day school with around 1,200 students. It's located in Golden Valley, Minnesota, on 52 acres, just minutes from downtown Minneapolis. And Breck enjoys a really great national reputation for excellence and achievement in academics, athletics, and the arts. It's rated an A+ overall by niche.com, with an A+ ranking also for its academics and college prep, and an A for its clubs and activities, and even another great rating, an A- for its teachers, diversity, and sports programs. So a lot of top ratings here. All of these top 5 schools are going to have pretty much A- or higher on every single aspect. It also has a 100% graduation rate. It's the 65th best Christian high school in the U.S. out of about 2,500 Christian high schools. It's the #1 Christian high school in Minnesota. It's also, just overall, not just private or anything, it's the #5 best high school for STEM in Minnesota. It's the #5 best college prep private high school in Minnesota. And it's the #5 best private K-12 school overall in Minnesota. And at Breck, their educational philosophy or mission is to create confident learners who lead lives of intellectual curiosity, self-knowledge, and social responsibility. And they have 4 core values: compassion, excellence, inclusivity, and respect. So one of the common questions that you get with private schools is, what's the tuition cost? So looking at Breck School's tuition, and some of that's going to pop up on the screen here, but for preschool half days, it's about $24,000 a year, $23,915 a year. This is their tuition rates, by the way, for 2023, 2024. For preschool full days, it's about $31,000 annually. For kindergarten full days, about $32,000. Grades 1 through 4, $35,000. Grades 5 through 8, $36,000. Grades 9 through 11, $36,900. And grades 12 about the same, $36,925. So another question that's common is, does this private school offer busing? We all know with traditional public schools that based on your residential address where you live, there's a bus route that picks you up in your neighborhood or whatnot and takes you to and from school. But with charter schools, magnet schools, private schools, the question always sort of becomes, you either have to commute yourself, have a parent or friend drive you to school, and or have some sort of transportation option like a bus. And so luckily, these top 5 private schools all do offer some sort of transportation or busing. And just kind of verbatim here, every school day, there's a fleet of buses that leaves the Breck campus. They pick up about more than 500 students around the Twin Cities Metro. Offer a few different types of service. There's a one-way service, either bringing the student to school or taking them home, but not both. They offer obviously a two-way service where they take you to and from, morning and afternoon. And then they also have an activity bus service that leaves the campus at 5:45 p.m. And transportation service is available to all Breck students 4 years of age and older. Pricing is dependent on location. So if you go to their website, you search transportation, they have a really nice breakdown of all of this, but they have 6 zones of transportation. It's A, B, C, D, E, and F, with A being the closest to the school and being the most affordable, and F being the furthest and the most expensive. For example, the estimated costs for 2024-25 for a round trip in Zone A is $1,000 annually, where the round trip option in Zone F is about $3,500 annually. So something to be considerate of when you're choosing any of these private schools. They're going to have some sort of cost associated with the transportation, but luckily they do have some options besides you yourself driving your students to and from school. All right, coming in at number 4 is the Breck School. It has 2 campuses. One is the Breck campus in Hopkins, and it serves grades pre-K through 8. And then they also have the Northrop campus, which is in Minneapolis and serves grades 9 through 12. The Breck School is rated an A+ overall by niche.com. It also gets an A+ ranking for its academics and college prep. It's also rated an A for its teachers and sports, and gets an A- for its clubs and activities and diversity. It's the number 3 best high school in Minnesota for STEM. And again, whether public or private, it's the number 3 best high school for STEM in Minnesota, so that's pretty impressive. Also number 3 as the best college prep private high school in Minnesota. And in terms of their educational philosophy, their mission is to engage students with dynamic and academically challenging education in a diverse and supportive environment, committed to pluralism and a common set of values. Students pursue an integrated program of academic, artistic, and athletic activities, preparing them for college, lifelong learning, and purposeful lives as community and global citizens. They have 4 core values, and those are respect, love of learning, integrity, and courage. Their admissions team is always available via phone or Zoom, and they do offer campus tours of their lower school, middle school, and upper school. If you're interested for the 2024-2025 year, you can check out their website, and they do have their application process listed. It's pretty simple. Basically, you sign up through their admissions portal. They create an application account and give you access to the checklist. Then you register for an event and take a tour through the portal, and then you apply online. You have to consider financial assistance through that process, and then details on their financial system. If you're interested in the 2024-25 school year, be sure to check out their website. They have everything about their application process that you need to know listed right on there, easy to use and easy to access. So how many students attend the Breck School? The Hopkins campus is home to students from grades pre-K through 8. The Early Learning Center was opened in 2023 for pre-K, which is ages 4+, kindergarten, and first grade. Students then move on from that to the upper elementary for grades 2 through 5, and the middle school serves students in grades 6 through 8. Hopkins campus for the Early Learning Center, they have about 165 students. The upper elementary, grades 2 through 5, have about 280 students, and the middle school, grades 6 through 8, has about 340 students. And as mentioned, they have the 2 campuses, and so the Northrop campus serving grades 9 through 12, the upper school has about 535 students for the current school year. So what are the class sizes? Well, the average class size at this school is 16 students, and the student to adult ratio is 9:1. I noticed that specifically. They used student to adult language on their website instead of student to teacher ratio. So their student to adult ratio is 9:1. So does the Breck School charge tuition? Yes, all of these private schools are going to charge tuition, but it does include free lunch and parent association dues in these fees here I'm about to talk to. These are their 2023-2024 tuition fees. Ranges from as low as $20,000 for pre-K, kindergarten is $31,000, grades 1 and upper elementary grades 2 through 5 is about $36,000, $37,000 for grades 6 and 7, about $40,000 for grades 8 through 12. And so does the Breck School offer busing or transportation options? Yes, they do. Like most of these, if not all of these here. They have what they call door-to-door service. They have centralized service. They have a combination service, which is a mix of door-to-door and centralized. And then they also have something known as Breck Single Ride, which is a purchase in advance type of feature. So check out their website, search transportation in the search field on their website. It's the easiest way to find it. And they have lots of great information there about the programs that I just mentioned, and then also the costs associated with that. All right, coming in at number 3 is Mounds Park Academy, located in St. Paul off of Larpenteur. It's a pre-K through 12 private school that was founded in 1982. And started with just around 100 students. It's rated an A+ overall by niche.com. It also gets an A+ ranking for its academics, its clubs and activities, and its college prep. And it gets an A for its teachers and diversity. It has a 100% graduation rate, and it's the number 6 best college prep high school. That's a private high school in Minnesota. It's the number 8 most diverse private high school in Minnesota, and it's the number 9 best high school for STEM in Minnesota overall, public or private, number 9. So talking about their educational philosophy, MPA, Mounds Park Academy, MPA's motto is dream big, do right. I love that one. That was a good one. When I read all of these different educational philosophies, some really strike me and some don't. And I just like that one. Dream big, do right. They also have a set of values. They say what we value: students who are involved and engaged in their own education, an atmosphere of open discourse and academic rigor, a balance of academics, arts, and athletics, an experiential learning led by exceptional faculty, mutual respect and meaningful service, technology as an integral part of learning, and a school-wide spirit of innovation. So what about enrollment? MPA uses an online system called Ravenna. Families can complete their online admission application, request academic records and teacher recommendation forms, and track the status of their application all within that program. Pre-K, kindergarten, grades 1 through 4, grades 5 through 12, all had slightly different admission processes in the research I did here. So on their website, check it out. They have a really great breakdown of what all those steps are specifically for each grade level, the timeline expectations, and the admission philosophies for those different age groups. And they also do accept international students as well, and they have all that info in that same section on their website. So as I mentioned before, it opened in 1982 to about 100 students, and as of today, there's about 1,400 students. The average class size is 15, and it has an exceptional 7-to-1 student-to-teacher ratio. One of the best I've seen, for sure. So, of course, MPA charges tuition. They break it down here for pre-K into a couple different columns, and it's basically broken out into, are you joining the school year program or are you joining the year-round program? So basically what that means is the school year program is, during the academic school year, whereas the year-round program is including the academic school year and as well that summer time frame. So they have it broken out by 5 days a week. That's full days, by the way, 5 full days a week, 4 full days a week, and 3 full days a week. So for example, I'm not going to read every single number here, but for 5 full days per week, it's $21,000 per year for the academic or school year program, which is about $2,000 per month. And if you're doing the year-round program for 5 full days a week, it's about $25,000 a year. So if you're, let's say, on the opposite end of the spectrum, only doing the 3 days, full days per week, it costs about $13,000 a year, about $1,200 a month, and $15,000 a year for the year-round program, or about $1,200 per month. For grades K through 12, so we just went through pre-K, so for grades K through 12, it's broken down a little bit simpler. It's basically 2 things. There's a tuition range, and then there's the hot lunch, which is optional. So for grades K through 4, the lower school, it's $15,000 to $31,000. There's a number of reasons why it could be that. And then the hot lunch is $1,200, which is about $10 per day. The grades 5 through 8 breakdown is a range of $16,750 to $33,500. And $1,300 for the hot lunch. And then for grades 9 through 12, the upper school, the tuition can range anywhere from $9,000 to $36,000. And again, obviously, there's the hot lunch option, which is $1,300. So does MPA offer any type of busing? Yes, of course they do. They have families from 82 different zip codes around the Twin Cities, and they arrive to the school via 3 traditional ways. One, they either get their own personal transportation, or there's a busing option, or they carpool. So speaking to the latter there, carpooling, some of the families do collaborate with one another from a variety of the suburbs throughout the metro and do some carpooling. And then in addition to that, MPA does offer extensive bus services that parents and students of all ages can take advantage of. They have 4 MPA bus routes that are being offered for the 2023-2024 school year, and they serve the following areas: Minneapolis, St. Paul, North Oaks, Roseville, and Woodbury. And for the younger students, Mounds Park Academy takes extra care, especially for the younger students. They are escorted to and from the bus areas by an administrator to ensure their safety and that they board, make sure that there's somebody there when they're getting on and off the bus. And in addition, bus drivers do not leave the bus stop until all children are picked up by the parents in the afternoon. So the bus drops off, parents are outside, the bus driver ensures that the kids are picked up by their parents. And luckily, for students that live within the boundaries of Independent School District 622, the North St. Paul, Maplewood, Oakdale district, they are eligible for free service to MPA, and those routes are planned by District 622, so you can check out the school district and they have more information on that. All right, coming in at number 2 is St. Paul Academy and Summit School, located in St. Paul, also known as SPA for short. It is a private K-12 school. It was founded in 1900. The St. Paul Academy for Boys began in a building at 155 Western Avenue in St. Paul, and then in 1917, the Summit School for Girls opened at 655 Holly Avenue in St. Paul. And in 1969, the 2 schools merged, combining curriculum, faculty, and students. And now the school is recognized as one of the top independent schools in the country. It's rated an A+ overall by niche.com. It also gets an A+ ranking for its academics and college prep. It gets an A ranking for its teachers and clubs and activities, and an A- for its diversity. It has a 100% graduation rate. It is the number 2 best high school for STEM in Minnesota, and as I mentioned with some of the previous schools, that's private or public. It's the number 2 best STEM school in Minnesota, and it's the number 4 best college prep private high school in Minnesota. SPA's mission, or their educational philosophy, is shaping the minds and the hearts of people who will change the world. The SPA experience is shaped and defined by 6 core values: achievement, accountability, community, resilience, inventiveness, and passion. In terms of enrollment, I have to say that of all of the schools I've done research on, this one was maybe some of the most specific information I could get. They actually broke down by grade how many openings they still had available for the upcoming school year. So, for example, at the lower school, kindergarten has 40 openings for the fall of 2024. Grades 1 and 2 only have like 2 to 4 openings, and so on and so forth. So if you go to their website and you look under their enrollment admissions, you can see very specifically how many spots that they do still have available by grade. One thing I do want to mention though is for grades 10 through 12, they do say that openings are dependent on attrition or relocations among existing and current families. And so they encourage students interested in grades 10 through 12 to contact them as soon as possible, as it does fill up quickly. So how many students attend SPA? There's about 900 students for the 2023-2024 school year, and the average class size is 13, which is lowest among comparable independent schools in Minnesota. They have an overall average student to faculty ratio of 7:1, another interesting specific language, not student to teacher. They said student to faculty ratio, is 7:1. And they break down each school, the lower, middle, and upper schools by grade and how many students. And so grades K through 5 has about 244 students with an average class size of 12. The middle school, which is grades 6 through 8, has about 234 students and an average class size of 13. And the upper school is grades 9 through 12 with 412 students and an average class size of about 13. So of course, SPA charges tuition. Their breakdown was a little bit simpler than some of the other schools that we've gone through where they were very extensive breakdowns. They just broke this down really easily. The lower school is $33,500 annually, the middle school is $35,300 annually, and the upper school is $36,600 annually. What was cool about this school is they had a real big focus on international students. So international boarding students make up about 18% of their student population, and some of the most popular countries from around the world that they come from is China, Ukraine, South Korea, Belarus, and Liberia. And yes, SPA does offer transportation options. Again, go to the website, search transportation. It's easiest to find that way. That's what I have found on all of these websites. Instead of navigating all of their different menus and sub-menus, it's easiest just to hit search and hit transportation. It gets you right there. They do offer busing options. You can read more about that on their website, but then they also do carpool. Families get together and work through a transportation coordinator and connect families in neighborhoods for carpooling. All right, so coming in at number 1 is the International School of Minnesota. Founded in 1985, the International School of Minnesota, ISM for short, is a private pre-K through 12 school, boarding school, specifically in Eden Prairie. It's rated an A+ overall by niche.com and also gets an A+ ranking for its academics, its clubs and activities, its diversity, and its college prep. And it gets an A for its teachers. And if you've been watching the video this whole time, you'll notice that this is really the only school that had an A+ for just about every single rating. It didn't even have an A- listed there. That's fairly impressive. It has a 100% graduation rate. It's, of course, because it's number 1 on our list here, it's the number 1 best private K through 12 school in Minnesota. It's also the number 1 best high school for STEM in Minnesota. So public or private, it's the number 1 best STEM high school in Minnesota. I find that to be incredibly impressive, and I guess somebody has to be. And they come to these rankings in a number of different ways. You can check that out on niche.com. They kind of break down how they make that ranking, but I digress. It's also the number 1 most diverse private high school in Minnesota. It's the number 1 best college prep private high school in Minnesota, and the only one on this list today I feel like worthy of mentioning, because none of them were in the top, I think even 250, coming in at 48th best private K through 12 school in the U.S. So a top 50 private school in the U.S. Doesn't get that much better. I guess it gets 47 better than that technically, but it's the best one in Minnesota and 48th in the country. So I didn't really know much about this, and I learned more as I was reading, but so in terms of their educational philosophy, ISM is a member of the SABIS network. I'm hoping I'm saying that right. SABIS utilizes the SABIS educational system, which is an academically rigorous program that's been around for about 130 years. And if you want to learn more about it, I'm not going to get into that here today, but if you want to learn more about it, you can check out their website and they have more on the SABIS educational system. In terms of enrollment, 90% of the students attending the school are from the Twin Cities Metro or Minnesota, and 10% are international boarding students. The admissions process for local or international students, of course, differs. You can check it on their website, but they generally both consist of meeting with the school, filing an application form, submitting required documents, and sitting for a diagnostic assessment or assessments. and of course tuition payments. So how many students attend ISM? There's about 300. So one of the smaller ones on the list here, and it has a pre-K student to teacher ratio of 10-1, and the overall student to teacher ratio is 8-1. And yes, ISM does charge tuition. You'll see some of these up on the screen here, but for the 2023-2024 school year, tuition rates, early childhood education half days are about $13,750 for full days. It's about $19,000 for kindergarten, about $21,800. For elementary schools, grades 1 through 5, it's that same price, $21,800. For middle schools, $23,500, and for grades 9 through 12, $24,000 annually. And of course, tuition for international boarding students is different. This is because they are providing boarding for those students. So they have a couple of different options. They have what they call a single room and a quad room. And so for a single room, that's going to be the more expensive option. For grade 8, combined between tuition, which is $25,500, and boarding, which is 10 months of boarding, is $28,000. The total for a single room in grade 8 is $53,500. If you want to do the quad room for grade 8, its tuition again is still the same, $25,500, but instead of $28,000 for the boarding, it's $21,500 for a total of $47,500. So it saves you about, what is that, $6,000 per year. Grades 9 through 12, again, they offer the single room versus the quad room. Grades 9 through 12, the tuition is $26,000 and the boarding is $28,000. Again, that's for a 10-month cycle. And so coming in at a total of $54,000. So only $500 more than grades 8. I'm not sure why they give a price break for grades 8 versus 9 through 12, but they do. And then grades 9 through 12 in a quad room, the more affordable option, tuition is $26,000. And instead of the $28,000 for boarding, it's $21,500. And the total comes out to $47,500. And lastly, does ISM offer busing or transportation options? Yes, they do. They do provide options to students that reside in the West Metro area and Minneapolis by partnering with Coherent Bus Company. There's good information on their website. Check out their FAQ section. They'll have more information on their website where you can learn more about their transportation options. And with all of that, we hope you found that valuable. Lots of great private school options here in the Twin Cities. Not just relegated to this top 10. There are some really great options outside of the top 10. Maybe we'll do a video of the additional schools that deserve much love as well. But if you'd like our help buying a home here in the Twin Cities or navigating the Twin Cities school systems, reach out to me directly at bradford@tothetwincities.com. I'd love to help. We'll see you next time.